You are looking at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where in just a short time the Cardinals will host the Washington Redskins, who will have Billy Kilmer back at quarterback in a game that may decide if either team gets the NFC wild card. Dallas and Los Angeles have already clinched playoff spots in the NFC, but look at all of those possibilities for the wild card.
Hello, everyone. Ross Browner and Ken McAfee are the two All-American linemen who many think are the reasons Notre Dame is playing #1 Texas in the Cotton Bowl. Well, I spoke to them about the big game and about their thoughts of a pro career. Irv?
Phyllis, I went out and spoke to the St. Louis Cardinals, who've had their problems the last 2 weeks after being one of the hottest teams in pro football for half the season. I spoke with Coach Don Coryell about today's game and what it'll take to make the playoffs.
Irv and Phyllis, 10 teams are still in the running for those remaining 5 playoff spots. We take a look at 4 college quarterbacks who could go #1 in the upcoming college draft. Jimmy the Greek and Jack Whitaker, too. All that and more coming up on the NFL Today.
Set. Brown 45. Brown 45. Hot, 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 hot.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Tuborg Gold, the golden beer of Danish kings. Tuborg Breweries Limited, Baltimore, Maryland. From the CBS Sports Control in New York, here's Brent Musburger.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals in the third quarter in Cincinnati, and the Steelers continue to lead that game 10-7. Phyllis, what is the weather like in St. Louis? As bad as it is in Cincinnati?
I think so. Very cold and very nasty, but we'll check in with Pat and Tommy in a few minutes.
All right, and of course, the big story developing, Irv Cross, you told me that Billy Kilmer will be the starting quarterback and not Joe Theismann. Why would George Allen make that decision?
Well, you know, Brent, George is a very superstitious coach. A very good coach, but superstitious. And the last time the St. Louis Cardinals and Washington Redskins played, Billy Kilmer was a quarterback. They won that ball game 24-14, and he threw 3 touchdown passes. They have not scored very many points with Theismann. Kilmer is his man under pressure in a championship playoff-type game. As far as George Allen is concerned, this is a championship game, and he wants his general in there, and that's Billy Kilmer.
Boy, it sure is a championship game. St. Louis and Washington, they both have to win it to get a shot at the playoffs. We've got a lot of teams right now that are driving toward a possible shot in the playoffs. The Dallas Cowboys, well, last week they were led by Tony Dorsett's magnificent 84-yard touchdown run. He picked up 205 yards rushing. Those are both Dallas team records, and the Cowboys clinched the NFC Eastern Division title as they beat the Philadelphia Eagles 24-14. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, that Ram-Raider game you're looking at determined 2 more division titles. Pat Hayden hitting Harold Jackson late in the game to beat Oakland 2014. Now, the LA victory gave the Rams the NFC West title, while the Raider loss assured the Denver Broncos of the first division title in their history. Because when Denver beat Houston 24-14, that was the other half of the formula that locked up the AFC West. And what does it mean for Oakland? That means their only shot to get back in the playoffs is to win the wild card in the AFC. Now, the Baltimore Colts could have taken a giant step toward that AFC Eastern crown by beating the Dolphins last Monday, but you know what happened. Miami's 17-6 victory over the Colts enabled the Dolphins to tie Baltimore for the top spot, and it also kept New England alive. Now, in the NFC Central, either Minnesota or Chicago will be in the wild card chase. The other is going to win the division. You know what you're looking at right there. With time running out, Sammy White running into the end zone with Tommy Kramer's desperation pass. That beat the San Francisco 49ers by a score of 28-27. And tomorrow on CBS, you couldn't ask for a better doubleheader game. It will be these Minnesota Vikings out in Oakland to play the Raiders. Both teams must win. But Minnesota needs only to beat Detroit the week after to win the division title. And that does not eliminate these Chicago Bears. They still have a chance for a wild card spot, and wonderful Walter Payton can still reach 2,000 yards rushing this season. So 2 teams from the NFC Central could make it to the playoffs. The same does not exist in the AFC Central. Earlier in the year, Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati by 6. The Bengals must therefore beat the Steelers by at least 7 today, but you know that with the game in the third quarter, Pittsburgh leads at 10-7. And if that score holds up, Pittsburgh will go into the final week of the season in first place in the AFC Central Division. The runner-up, incidentally, cannot make it as a wild card team. Now, also earlier this year, St. Louis and Washington met in Washington, with the Redskins prevailing in that game, as Irv Cross told you, and that's why today's game is such a big one. If St. Louis can reverse the outcome of their first meeting and win today and next week against Tampa Bay, then the Cardinals will be the NFC wildcard team. But if the Redskins behind Kilmer win, then they will stay alive in the battle for the 1977 playoffs. And now, class, is that all perfectly clear?
Yeah, applaud you on that. That was wonderful.
Applaud the script that I was reading. Let us take a look now at some quarterbacks, Phyllis and Irv, who could wind up being selected '1. As you know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers again will have that top choice. They need someone to solidify the offense. Maybe Doug Williams of Grambling. He's 6'4", 214. He's thrown more touchdown passes than any quarterback in the history of college football. Tonight, incidentally, they have a game left in Tokyo. We'll report on that tomorrow. Now, also outstanding as a quarterback is Guy Benjamin of Stanford. He's 6'4", he weighs 202 pounds. He is the major college passing champion. He completed 63% of his passes for the Cardinals. Another one, Matt Cavanaugh of Pittsburgh, 6'2", 210. You remember his game against Notre Dame, went out with a broken wrist, and I'll tell you what the scouts liked, the fact that he came back before the season ended. Also, you're looking now at another good quarterback, Gifford Nielsen of Brigham Young, 6'5", 203. These shots taken at night earlier in the season. Nielsen out with a knee injury, but the scouts say that he has a marvelous opportunity to wind up someday as a starter in the National Football League. And the NFL today will continue on CBS when we travel down to St. Louis to talk to Pat and Tommy in just a moment.
Oh, this is perfect. Could you hold this for me? I get paid Friday.
I'm sorry. This is a Christmas special.
Oh, how about a deposit? Do you take postage stamps?
You take master charge, don't you?
Master charge? Of course.
You've just seen Clout in action. Clout is your master charge card, your personal account for Christmas shopping in over 2 million places. Carry Clout and relax.
Oh, boy, do I need one of those.
Let's buy our small computer from the giant computer company. You can't beat Goliath.
No. Right, David?
Sir, let's go with Wang. Nobody makes a better small computer or word processor. They're giant killers.
It happened before. It can happen again, because nobody's hungrier than Wang.
He's right.
Tuborg Gold, the golden beer of Danish kings. By appointment to the Royal Danish Court. Tuborg Gold. Only centuries of the Danish brewer's art could achieve its noble character for lightness and flavor. Tuborg Gold, now brewed in America. So for about what you'd pay for the king of beers, you can now have Tuborg Gold, the golden beer of Danish kings.
Tell us all that nasty weather that slammed in the Midwest. I think it's time to find out what it's like in St. Louis today.
And let's just do that. Well, we have two fine broadcasters, Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire, where the Cardinals are playing the Washington Redskins. And ought to be a good game. Let's see what these guys have to say about it. Hello.
Hello, Phyllis. It is 14 degrees in St. Louis. But, Tom, they have done an absolutely amazing job getting this field in good shape.
Yeah, last night this thing looked like a frozen daiquiri, but they've really done a great job. They put some chemicals on it, and it's really a fast track and also a good track.
Right. We'd just like to confirm what Irv Cross said. I know you talked, and so did I, with Billy Kilmer, and he's going to start at quarterback.
Yeah, they say in practice he's been throwing the ball better than he ever has the last couple of weeks, and he's beaten this team 3 times in a row. And Jim Hart doesn't play that well, really, against Washington.
What about the Cardinals? What do you think they're going to do? It's going to be something different, I know that.
They better change the defense. They've given up 6 TD passes to Miami, and they had 200 yards rushing by the Giants. They got to work on defense hard.
And we got to go to work, too, so we'll throw it back to you, fellas.
You know, they look good in the cold. Tommy Brookshire looks like Sherlock Holmes, doesn't he? Finding out all the scoop about Kilmer and all.
What was he saying about Billy Kilmer throwing the ball better than ever?
Yeah.
Or cross, that must mean that only wobbles a half dozen times instead of 10 or 12, huh?
Well, you know, but he is a winner, though. You know, I don't know how he does it. He doesn't look pretty throwing the ball, but he gets points from the board. But I went out to St. Louis early this week and talked to Coach Don Coryell and quarterback Jim Hart, and they're very, very concerned about this ball game.
They would have to be concerned about the performance of the ball club the last couple of games. Routed by Miami and then upset last Sunday by the Giants.
After winning 6 straight games, the St. Louis Cardinals are one of the hottest teams in pro football. And one of those wins gave the Dallas Cowboys their first defeat to tighten the National Football Conference Eastern Division title race. 2 weeks ago, however, things began to turn for the worse. And it all began right here at Busch Stadium. On Thanksgiving Day, Bob Greasy's 6 touchdowns enabled the Miami Dolphins to rout the Cardinals 55-14 before a nationwide audience. Then last Sunday in the Meadowlands, the Cardinals were ambushed by the New York Giants 27-7. Hopes for a wild card playoff spot are all that remain, and it's safe to say there's some concern in St. Louis.
It's all on our shoulders. There are 2 games left, and we have to win them both, and the immediate one, of course, against Washington. Whenever they play us, they go all out. Now, the only thing I can say, Irv, is that we are just working as hard as we can. The staff is sleeping on the floor in the offices, sleeping bags. We're putting as many hours as we can. I think a lot of things are going to happen. I think it'll be a great game.
Quarterback Jim Hart must now face a Redskin defense, which has always been tough for the Big Red to handle. It would be all or nothing for Hart and the Cardinals, and each man knows he must produce.
They have defensed us very well. Who's responsible for that, I don't know. You're going to have to give credit to George Allen. He's a fine defensive mind. We don't get sacked very much, but the Redskins will always get a couple sacks on us just because we take too long to throw, that they just cover our people and we can't find someone open. And we're a football team that dares you to stop us. We're going to say, we do this well, and you prove you can stop us. They've proven they can stop us.
The Cardinal offense has a reputation for being a big play offense. Is that really the way to describe it?
My ire gets raised a little bit when I hear we're a big play team. What team is not a big play team? Show me Dallas how they will win without a big play. They don't. We beat them because they didn't have a big play in our ball game. Washington beats us the same way. Pass down the middle, Gene Fugit, 24 yards. That's a big play. And they call us big play team? Every team's a big play team. You need it to win.
Jim, the Cardinal-Cowboy rivalry is intense. Is the Cardinal-Redskin rivalry even more intense than that?
Yes, because I think talking about the Cardinal-Cowboy rivalry, there's a bit, we're on speaking terms with the Cowboys anyway. We'll chat with them after the game, win or lose. But the Redskins, it's pretty tense. And there are a few guys on the team that I'm fairly close to, but well, when it comes to playing that game, I don't have any desire to speak with them.
Could you almost say you don't like the Redskins?
Yes. Yes.
Brent, the stage has been set for a real head-on-head battle this afternoon.
Oh, it should be a fine game, Irv. And the NFL Today will continue on CBS in just a moment.
You want to start something?
You want to start something?
You want to start something? Start using Rayovac alkaline energy cells, the finest battery Rayovac makes. No ordinary battery can last as long as our alkaline energy cell. In fact, one Rayovac alkaline can last up to 8 times longer than an ordinary battery. So if you want to start something, start using Rayovac alkaline.
Get something started with Rayovac.
This drop is too little to cover the head of a match. Yet this is enough adhesive, super strong, super fast to lift 2.5 tons. It's Duro Super Glue. A drop will do to mend jewelry, ceramics, rubber, and glass in only 10 seconds. It truly is super strong and super fast. Super Glue. A drop will do. Super Glue. A product of Loctite Technology.
Introducing Dutch Masterpieces. Dutch Masters gift cigar tins inspired by 19th century collector's items. Now you can have the fun of giving them too. This one holds 25 great-tasting presidents. And this one, 25 mild Dutch Masters Panatellas. Get them now where gift wrap boxes of 50 Dutch Masters are featured. See why there really are masters at Dutch Masters?
Time was when a man spent a good part of his time laying in firewood for the winter. Maybe firewood is an idea whose time has come again. And today, cutting firewood is a lot easier thanks to Homelight, the Chainsaw King. If you invest in this Homelight XL right now, you can save $30. And on other selected models, you get a free carry case. From Homelight, the Chainsaw King. Available at participating Ace hardware stores.
They gave away more than the Heisman Trophy the other night. Ken McAfee of Notre Dame was selected the best offensive end in the country, and one of his teammates, Ross Browner of the Fighting Irish, the best defensive lineman. And as they went up to receive their hardware, there you were, Phyllis, giving them their trophies. Boy, what great years they've had.
They've both had great years. They're fine young men. And, of course, Earl Campbell won the Heisman that night, and a very excited man from the University of Texas. But these are two Fighting Irish that fight all the way and want to win January 2nd.
I know you had an opportunity to talk to McAfee and also Browner about their chances.
Two big reasons why Notre Dame may defeat Texas in the Cotton Bowl are named Ross Browner and Ken McAfee. McAfee, number 81, has been the All-American tight end for 3 straight seasons, and this year was a leading vote-getter for the Heisman Trophy. Last season, Ross Browner, number 89, was the Outland Trophy winner, symbolic of the nation's outstanding lineman. How about predictions for the Cotton Bowl now? You're playing the #1 team in the nation. How do you feel about that?
Of course, Texas is ranked #1. They're justly deserve the ranking since they are the only undefeated team in the nation. We feel that should we beat Texas? We feel that we have a chance for the #1 ranking. I think this game is going to be for the national championship. Whatever game we step into is really going to be a tough one, and Texas is just another game we had to step into, even though it is your hometown.
I wonder if you pattern yourself after any NFL player. Have aspirations of, are you individuals enough that you want to become your own player? Do you pattern yourself at all?
Oh, definitely. I don't pattern myself after everyone, of course. A lot of people have tried to compare him with Dave Casper. He played at Notre Dame, was a tremendous tight end, probably the most predominant figure in National Football League now as a tight end. And I guess it's just a natural situation. Everyone has tried to compare me, but I don't pattern myself after Dave Casper or anybody else for that matter. I just try to play my best game and try to help win football games for the University of Notre Dame.
At 6'4", 250 pounds, McAfee is a powerful blocker who possesses incredibly soft hands for a man so large. And when Notre Dame is near the goal line, he is the man they seek out for a sure 6 points. Many pro scouts believe if Earl Campbell is not the #1 pick in the pro draft, McAfee will be. In size, speed, and style, Ross Browner most resembles the Dallas Cowboys' all-pro defensive end, Harvey Martin. He is a tracker, a hunter of quarterbacks, a man who destroys offenses. Pro scouts drool over Browner's potential, and he is certain to be one of the first 5 players picked in the draft. Ken, your father played for the Giants, I believe, for 6 or 7 years. Did you learn anything from him?
Well, you know, he never pushed me into football. He made me take piano lessons and dancing lessons.
You take piano lessons?
Oh, sure.
Let me see those hands. With hands like that, it's hard to believe you were going to play the piano. What about you, Ross? Notice you had an earring in your ear.
Well, no, it's not. That's for bravery. That's like, you know, something for a warrior. You know, they send out warriors in a tribe, and they used to have earrings in their ear, you know, so it's really a warrior.
You're 2 very fine men, and I appreciate your talents on the football field.
Thank
And good luck.
Well, thank you, Phyllis. You're a very fine young lady. I like your smile.
Good teeth, huh?
Oh, yeah, nice dimple, too.
Cut. You know, that day we had to put on our wide-angle lens on the camera. These guys are huge. They're very, very big. Right, Earth?
Wait till they get to the pros. They'll just be one of the family.
You know, with just a couple of games remaining for most teams, it is the time of the year when the playoff contenders must dig down now for something extra. And Jack Whitaker has some thoughts about one of these extra ingredients.
The Cardinals and the Redskins will be lurking around this afternoon like two out-of-work sailors knowing there's only one job on the outgoing freighter. I think it's remarkable that these two teams are still alive for a wild card spot in the playoffs. The Cardinals, as you know, have been riddled with injuries, and goodness knows the Redskins look like they were expiring from old age months ago. But George Allen always knows what to feed his team late in the season, and here are the Redskins still dancing at 10 minutes to midnight with a chance to take the lady home. This is the time of year when pain becomes very important in professional football. In these last 2 weeks, in these afternoons when it gets dark at 4 o'clock and the wind has no softness, it is then that the players pay the price. Injuries and pain, that's what makes football different from most sports. Look at the contending teams coming down to these last 2 weeks. Minnesota without Fran Tarkenton, Dallas sputtering without 100% Roger Staubach, and Oakland a little less than secure with an injured Kenny Stabler. It is the people who are healthy who have the advantage now. It is almost better to be healthy than lucky in the NFC. Almost. One of the nice things about all this is that hurt players many times play beyond themselves and win.
Jack, we've also got a hurt coach today. Chuck Noll of the Pittsburgh Steelers slipped on the ice in Cincinnati last night when he was going out for dinner. He broke his left arm. He's on the sidelines right now in Cincinnati, and the Steelers continue to lead by 3. And the NFL today will continue with Jimmy the Greek on CBS in just a moment.
Ryder rents trucks, all kinds of trucks. And Ryder does everything possible to make sure the wipers work, the headlights work, the brakes and steering and transmissions have been checked out. So practically nothing can stop a Ryder truck. Because when you rent trucks, you don't want them to give you problems. You want them to solve your problems. Ryder, the best truck money can rent.
I'm Jackie Stewart, and I can tell you how to save some money. If you change your own oil filter, you probably buy one of these. How do you decide? By name? Price? There's one big difference in these filters. The Ace costs less, and it does a very good job of protecting your engine. You'll pay more for these, but you won't get a better filter than Ace. With a choice like that, which would you buy?
Ace. Good filter, good price.
By appointment to the Royal Danish Court since the reign of Frederick IX, Tuborg Gold, proclaimed the golden beer of Danish kings. Today, this light beer of noble heritage is brewed in America, and Tuborg Gold is affordable to everyone. In fact, for about what you pay for the king of beers, you can now have Tuborg Gold, the golden beer of Danish kings.
Jimmy the Greek is sponsored by Muriel Cigars. Where there's Muriel smoke, there's fire.
And Greek, how do you analyze St. Louis and Washington today?
Well, we better do some analyzing here. Well, what's going to happen more or less is that the pressure's going to be on the cornerbacks for the Redskins. I mean, on Williams and Lavender more than anybody else. They're the ones that's going to have to play close and play them real tight.
St. Louis again gets a check for speed, even though the field might not be perfect today, right, Jimmy?
I think so. Definitely. The defensive front of Washington has been doing a great job, including their secondary. Now, here you see Hart. This is the play where I say that the cornerbacks definitely must play up. Lavender comes over here as Gray splits the zone, and Lavender tackles him. But if you notice, Gerard Williams is playing back too far, and I think he's going to have to play a little bit closer today. Curtis has been doing a great job, actually, substituting for Hamburger, and he's been playing rough. And he always does play rough.
I like the way he threw that flag back. So the big check goes to who, Greek?
Not the big check. It's a very small check, and this is a tight ball game, let's face it.
Jimmy, what about the fact that St. Louis has looked bad its last 2 times out? Do you throw those 2 games out in considering this one today?
No, just one. Actually, Hart played well in the game before. It was the last game that they played poorly. The defense has been playing poorly in both games. But you're going to see a different St. Louis team this time. They're going to come on, I think, with 3 tight ends and try to control the ball more because J.V. Kane is back. They're going to do things a lot different.
All right, Jimmy, and I want to come back and talk to you about Buffalo and the fact they're going to have a new coach as the NFL Today continues on CBS in just a moment. Jimmy, we've got an update out of Cincinnati that I want to give you. The Bengals have just gone ahead of the Steelers by a score of 17-10. They tied it with a field goal. Then I'm told that on the kickoff, recovered a fumble and went right back in. And, of course, what is it? Cincinnati has to win by at least 6 today, Jimmy?
No, 7.
They
this is the right figure.
All right, so if they hold right there, they're in good shape,
They're
right?
in good shape.
Now, what about Buffalo and Monty Clark and all of those stories that we've been reading about?
Well, supposedly Wilson has not talked to Monty Clark, but we have found out that his assistant, Mr. Cox, has talked to him. But there's a lot of talk about Monty going to Detroit and also to Washington.
Washington rumor comes back up again. Greek, where would that put George Allen on the...
Well, I just think that maybe Williams is just talking to Monty just in case that George decides to go to the West Coast somewhere. But I think the situation on the West Coast, since San Diego's been playing better and the Rams look like a definite contender for the Super Bowl, it's going to make it a little rougher.
Okay, Jimmy, I want to go back to last Sunday and show you what I think was the highlight of the day. Tommy Kramer of the Minnesota Vikings beating San Francisco. Tommy, what were you thinking about on the bench that day?
About the cold, but, you know, I knew that, you know, we had to score some points quick, and one way to do it is to throw the ball, and, you know, the line blocked, and we came up with the big plays when we needed them.
Did that cold go away when Bud said, hey, you're in the game right now?
Oh, yeah, you know, once you're playing, you warm up a lot, and because you're thinking about other things, but, you know, you don't feel it while you're out there, and that's what's, you know, that's what's so good about it.
Tommy, I know you called just about all the plays while you're in the game, of course, with the exception of the final touchdown pass to Sammy White. What was involved in that play now?
Oh, we just had our 2 wideouts on sideline patterns. We ran Sammy on a post right down through the middle, and Sammy beat the free safety, and the ball was there, and he ran it in for a touchdown.
The play was designed, hopefully, to get Sammy one-on-one on the defensive back?
Right. Well, you know, we were hoping that they would double cover our outside receivers, and they did, and there's only one man left for Sammy to beat, and he did it.
Tommy was talking to Mark Rosen of WCCO, and the Greek has just told me that tomorrow, when you watch Minnesota play Oakland in the doubleheader game on CBS, you'll see that young man at quarterback, and what a story he was last Sunday. We've got a great game coming up. St. Louis and Washington, both teams have to win, and both teams will play that way, I'm sure. For Jimmy the Greek, Irv Cross, and Phyllis George, I'm Brent Musburger. Have a nice afternoon. We'll see you at halftime.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Radio Shack, leaders in home electronics for 56 years. Ford and your Ford dealer who invite you to see their better ideas for 78, including Fairmont, the Ford in your future. The 1,700 JCPenney stores coast to coast and the catalog. And by Ryder Truck Rental, the best truck money can rent. Stay tuned as the NFL Today continues after this word from your local station. Mike and Gloria relive their first date that almost became their last one on All in the Family, tomorrow night on CBS.
Ice around the edges, you can see it's about 14 degrees, and here come the Cardinals. Their record also 7-5. One of them will not make the playoffs. The loser says goodbye to postseason play today. We're at Busch Memorial Stadium in St. Louis, right by the arch and right by the banks of the Mississippi. Good afternoon to you. I'm Pat Summerall with Tom Brookshire, and Billy Kilmer is going to be the starting quarterback for the Redskins.
He's only 38 years old, and we're told that he is ready for this game like no other. And as I saw him before the game, I said, if you want dollar bills with dead presidents on them, meaning a lot of money, you got to win this one. There's nowhere else they can go.
And the Cardinals have told us that they'll be making some rather drastic changes.
I think on defense, we'll see the Cardinals in a 34 defense. They didn't get along very well with the 4-3 the last couple of weeks. So, Patrick, I think the Cardinals have won that toss, and we better get on with it.
Let's get to it. You are right. The Cardinals will receive, and back deep in the middle, number 21 is Terry Metcalf. The field is in excellent shape. Kicking off for the Redskins, Mark Moseley, who, at the request of the Cardinals, took off his shoe and let the Redbirds inspect it before the game. That is Steve Jones, number 34, to about the 28-yard line. In the sunshine right now, Eddie Moss made the tackle.
Offensively, those Cardinals will go with, of course, Mel Gray, Roger Finney, Bob Young, Banks, Dobler, and Deerdorf. Deerdorf now down 38 pounds with that broken jaw wired shut. Mel Gray, Ike Harris, J.V. Kane back with a bad shoulder, even though he may not be 100%. Jimmy Hart, Terry Metcalf, and Jim Otis, a very consistent ball carrier.
Otis starting in place of Wayne Morris. Morris has a lower back injury. Otis, of course, a couple of years ago went over 1,000 yards. Metcalf and Otis then, as Hart throws outside first to Ike Harris. He had it in the basket and dropped it. Gerard Williams out there with him. Redskins 7-5. The Cardinals are 7-5. Here's the Redskin defense now. The front four of McDowell, Dave Butts, Dyron Talbot, and Carl Lorch in place of Dennis Johnson.
This team's only given up an average of about 13 points a game. That's Dusek, McClint, and of course Curtis, who's playing for Hamburg, and he's playing very well, I might add.
And the secondary, Williams, Lavender, Houston, and Scott. The last two, the safety men. Harold McClinton puts up his hands on 2nd and 10. Cardinals shift around a little bit again. Hart drops again. J.V. Kane, who missed the game last week because of a bad shoulder, makes the reception. He's stopped by Ken Houston.
We were told, and Don Coriella affirmed this before the ball game, that they just can't play the normal type offensively or defensively plans that they've been using. So we're going to see probably men in motion. We're going to see sneak backs by the tight end that you just saw, and a lot of different wrinkles. They've got to get on the board early, and this is one of the great defenses to try to score points on when you're in a playoff situation.
A 6-yard gain. It'll be 3rd and 4. Here's Hart again. Down he goes in the grass. Bill Brundage. There's some question about whether or not he'd be able to play because of a sprained ankle.
That was the 40th sack for the Redskins this year, and they've always thought that if they got to Jim Hart early and showed him a lot of different coverages in the secondary, they might give him a tough afternoon, and over the years they have. Eddie Brown deep for Washington, and Dwayne Carroll, number 12, is the Cardinal punter. It is cold, but the field is in excellent condition. A little bit on the damp side, but they did some job. Here's Eddie Brown at his own 38. Swinging wide to the right. He gets one block. He got another one. And Brown comes out of bounds in front of his own bench, where the Redskin offensive unit, led by Billy Kilmer, goes on the field. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals and the National Football League is prohibited. There's the offensive line. Stokes, Saul, Haas, Hermeling, and Stark. And the receivers, Danny Buggs, Frank Grant wide, and the tight end is Gene Fugit. And the backfield, the number 17 is the quarterback. Mike Thomas gets the first carry and gets some pretty good yardage before Jeff Severson comes up and they drive him backward. Let's watch that Cardinal defense now and see if they do come in the 3-4. Gosh, Thomas got knocked right out of his bonnet, his headgear. There's the defense. Yankowski, Dawson, Davis, and Zook, which means they're going to be in the 4. At least it's going to start that way. Williams, Kellum, Arneson have had a lot of troubles in the linebacking corps. And the secondary, they've lost 2 starters with injuries, and Roger Worley's still an all-pro at the right corner spot. Second down now for the Redskins. They need about 5 for a first down. The snap gets away from Kilmer. The Cardinals have it. Mark Arneson. Somehow, Kilmer pulled out too soon. And the Cardinals have it in Redskin territory.
We said earlier that the cold should not bother the players, but I'm telling you, the hands have got to be glassy a little bit. There's the ball bouncing around. Arneson, very quick to take advantage of it. And boy, Billy Kilmer, what a way to start on offense.
It didn't look like he ever had possession of the exchange from center Lenny Hawes. And so the Redskin defense comes back. Cardinals offense operating now at the Redskin 37, first and 10. There's the shift. It's back to Metcalf. Metcalf for 6 or 7, stopped by Brad Dusek.
Metcalf has had 4 fumbles in the last 4 games. That time the Cardinals ran to the weak side of the formation and got Deerdorf out on that corner linebacker. Boy, I'll tell you, they've got speed and they've got a tremendous offensive line.
And they're also coming off 2 rather severe losses. To Miami on Thanksgiving Day and to the Giants last week. And everybody around here is trying to figure out what the problem is. 2nd and 4. Jim Hart, the quarterback. He gives again to Metcalf. And Metcalf is chased back to the line of scrimmage, a loss. Dyram Talbot was the guy who whizzed past first. Harold McClinton and Jake Scott made sure.
Notice Chris Hanberger's in there now. This would bring up a situation where the 5th back will come in for the nickel defense for the Redskins, which is Eddie Brown, and also make you wonder where Mel Gray is. Number 85 is the guy that the Redskins, they feel, must keep him off the board. They might let him have 1 touchdown, but he can't get more than that.
All right, he splits wide to the right. Mel Gray on 3rd and 7 at the top of your picture. Mike Harris to the other side. And there's a 3rd down for Jim Hart. The protection this time is good. But the pass is knocked loose. Jake Scott on the coverage. Intended for J.D. Kane.
Hart that time was looking for the tight end. It looks like he's really concentrating on 6'4" J.V. Kane. Jake Scott, though, is really there, and I guess that's why you pay safety men $130,000 a year.
Is that what he makes?
He's close. That's on a...
Anything close to that is okay.
I don't know if I've let the IRS know something they haven't, but that was published once.
Saw you talking to Jake before the game about how his ribs are feeling. What did he say?
Gosh, he said that they're just about getting well, but you know, he played pretty well with 3 fractured ribs the last couple of weeks.
Wayne Carroll is number 12, and Eddie Brown stands back at the 10-yard line as the Cardinals cannot capitalize. Line drive punt. Eddie Brown lets go, and it goes into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. Cardinals couldn't quite get down to cover it, so the Redskins will come back. And Lenny Hawes and Billy Kilmer spent some of that time working on the exchange between the center and the quarterback. Score is 0-0 in the first quarter.
Ah, now we're off and
how's
running,
it sound?
We're okay now. Yeah. I feel like he's a house mother or something, don't you?
Red Eye?
Yeah, I feel like we're in a fraternity and he's our pledge father.
Barry Frank called up here and said he wants you to call him.
And you better not forget it.
All right.
It's okay. Just keep this.
Too bad we don't have that in slow motion. We can have that, you say?
What do they call the big red line?
All right.
Did they have one?
No, but you know, they didn't make a first down. They didn't get close enough to the post. Redskins taking over on. I think
what are you going to say?
We ought to have some competition between the cheerleaders of the different teams.
I like to see them
like
working
volleyball
out.
or something.
They sure work out hard.
It's easy to see why they stay warm. First and 10.
Calvin Hill is in there along with Harmon.
Right. And it's Clarence Harmon, the ball carrier, to the right side, about a 7-yard pickup. Calvin Hill, the other running back.
Pretty good block by Calvin on the outside linebacker, too. Got into Williams enough to where a smaller fullback at 190 pounds. This is sort of a funny thing. The fullback weighs 190, and the blocking halfback weighs about 218 or 222.
Steve Niels, one of the Cardinal linebackers on the outside, who made that tackle along with Tim Kearney. 2nd and 4, 6-yard pickup. There's Calvin Hill. And that big, tall fella, of whom Tom Brookshire was speaking, goes out of bounds. Ken Reeves made the tackle, number 36, the safety man.
Good play by Reeves, too. He played off the blocker, who had gotten out cleanly on him. The Redskins think they can run wide on St. Louis. And Billy Kilmer had 3 touchdown passes in that 24-14 win, that 3rd game of the season in Washington. He throws the quick inside things and the quick out about as well as George Allen would like it, I guess.
Mike Thomas just checked back in. Calvin Hill over checking with George Allen. 1st and 10. The Redskins have the football. And again, Kilmer brings it back to Thomas, who does a couple of little dance steps, and he's broken it. Mike Thomas chased down by Roger Worley from the other side, but another Redskin first down. The defense of the Cardinals has had problems in recent weeks, and the boos start to come from the crowd at Busch Stadium.
Mike Thomas has never had under 80 yards. Look at the good block by Nugent. This little fella is off. He has had some big days, but never over 80 or never under 80 against St. Louis. He's right at that margin.
Line of scrimmage now is the Cardinal 42-yard line, where the Redskins have it 1st and 10. Well, one of these teams' hopes of a playoff spot will end today. For the other one, they'll still be alive. There are many possibilities, however. The loser of this one will not go to the playoffs. Kilmer gives again to Thomas, and again he tries to come wide, this time only back to the line of scrimmage. No more. Steve Niels, the first hitter.
And notice Kenny Reeves, number 36, was up over the line of scrimmage, turning the play in. And this has been one of the problems, that Redbird secondary. Here's that St. Louis bench. That's Deerdorf on the left. Dobler is biting his own shoelace as he's tying his shoes. That's quite a group, that offensive line for St. Louis.
That's a different looking shot here in St. Louis, too, because the Cardinals swapped sides with the Redskins, so they'd be in the sun as long as it was a factor. So the Redskins are on the cold side. If there is such a thing, the Cardinals are on the warm side, and there's Clarence Harmon breaking another tackle. Roger Worley down there with him, and Worley finally gets him out of bounds along with Dawson.
There had to be 2 or 3 missed tackles on that run. And it's always difficult to explain whether it's good running or bad tackling. But young Allen missed, number 27. Let's watch it. Pretty simple play to the left side. Saul out in front. There's 1, there's 2. And those are arm tackles for everybody except Worley, who finally got him out of bounds.
That run by Harmon all the way down to the Cardinal 18 as Mike Thomas comes out. Cincinnati leading Pittsburgh 17-10. Now they had to win by more than 6 in order to keep their playoff hopes alive. Harmon pounds straight ahead. This time only a couple. Eric Williams made the tackle.
Now, people might think that the throwing hand is the one that gets cold on a quarterback, as you see Billy Kilmer there, but sometimes it's the left hand that puts the ball up and sets it up, that gets so numb on the quarterback that he can't handle it. So don't just think it's that right hand. The throwing hand, for some reason, stays warm all the time.
Lenny Hawes wiping his hands, number 56. A 1-yard gain on first down, make it 2nd and 9 at the Cardinals 17. The year for Kilmer in 1977. Harmon breaks a couple more tackles, gets to the 15, and there's more. Tim Kearney.
Kearney's in there now as the linebacker and made a real good play along with Roger Worley, who came all the way under from the other side. Like Harmon might be shaken, huh?
I think so, and Jim Kick has gone into the game. Recently signed by the Redskins.
Runs great patterns on 3rd down out of the backfield. And a very clever football player. There's Jimmy Kick.
I'm looking at the other end of the field, and Mike Thomas is headed for the Redskin locker room.
Don't know what the problem is, but we'll try to find out. Kilmer drops. Kilmer throws. Calvin Hill at the 5. Calvin Hill, Redskin touchdown. Jeff Severson and Bob Giblin were carried into the end zone by Calvin Hill.
That was Billy Kilmer's 6th touchdown of the year. And Calvin Hill's 7th catch of the year. Look at this. We talked about him being large. You might recall back in 72, 73 with Dallas, he had those 1,000-yard rushing years. And since coming to Washington, he's really been sort of part-time.
Mark Moseley. With Joe Theismann to hold, Moseley will try to make it 7-0. And he does. 7:48 left to play in the first quarter. Washington breaks on top. Touchdown pass from Billy Kilmer to Calvin Hill. And the Redskins lead the Cardinals 7-0.
Sandy, I'll tell you, that was a simple touchdown. Huh? St. Louis doesn't hit on defense at all. They don't bang anyone. Even when they tackle or make a good play, it's a struggle. Huh? Let him right in there, didn't he? Bakken there, isn't it? Bakken standing there, I think. Where? Back behind there, those two guys in the way there. Oh, yeah. Bakken there.
Yeah, look at his shoe there. That's what it is.
Who's running back?
The Redskins scoring drive, 80 yards in 8 plays. They kept the ball 3 minutes, 11 seconds. There's 7:48 left to play in the first quarter. The Redskins lead 7-0 as Mark Moseley prepares to kick off. And that's Summerall with Tom Brookshire.
And the Cardinal defense did not hit on that drive, I'll tell you that.
They look like they did last week. High, a short kick. Bounces to Metcalf. And Metcalf heads straight up the field. Terry Metcalf to about the 37-yard line. Stopped by number 51, Joe Harris. I imagine it's a little bit colder than it was when the game began. Then it was 14. Watch the touchdown again.
Watch the left center of your screen. Calvin Hill swings inside. One linebacker falls down, and Calvin Hill runs over a linebacker and 2 safeties.
It'll be a first down for the Cardinals at their own 37. 1st and 10. Jim Hart still the quarterback. Otis and Metcalf still the running back. Jim Otis breaks a couple of tackles and spins for about 7 yards before Jake Scott wrapped him up.
Went right off Tom Banks and Bob Young's blocks on the left side. A couple of weeks ago against Philadelphia, Otis had 101 yards rushing, and he's a very sure-footed runner. He is not going to be as fancy as Wayne Morris. Of course, Wayne Morris isn't healthy, which has pressed him into service. But I'll tell you, anytime you dig it out against this team, you got to dig it out tough.
Like to win. Welcome those of you, WHIO in Dayton, Ohio, who saw the Wolverines beat the Dayton Flyers 71-61. It's 7-0 here in our game with the Cardinals and the Redskins. Washington leads. Dave Butts made the tackle on Terry Metcalf.
I asked Dave Butts before the game what size coat he wore, and he said 54 double extra long. Now that's a top coat for me.
He just came out of the game. That's a top coat.
Well, it is. You
That's
realize
a top coat for both of us. I mean, together. A 3rd down situation, about 3 yards to go for the Cardinals now. Mel Gray split wide to the left. Hart's looking in that direction, and now down he goes. Ron McDowell had him. He got rid of it. His arm was going forward, so it's not a sack. But that's as close as you can come.
And it's not intentional grounding either, which means that they were watching to make sure there weren't illegal hits on the quarterback. They're making sure the protection of that quarterback. There's the big fella. 42-inch waist. Yeah, the 42-inch waist. He's got 31-inch thighs. I guess it tapers off down at the bottom. I'm not sure.
You must have talked to him a long time.
Got a lot of information, didn't it?
Eddie Brown deep for Washington and Dwayne Carroll will do the punting for St. Louis. Redskins have not tried to block one yet. I imagine they will before it's over. Low kick in the direction of Brown, bounces away from him, and he'll stay away from it. Rolls dead at the 25, where the Redskins will take it over with a 1st and 10. So we have 5 minutes, 51 seconds left to play in the first quarter. The score is Washington 7, St. Louis nothing.
Like we're at Little America or something, don't you? I feel like they'll drop in supplies.
I hope they drop in some of those. No. Oh. No.
No.
Larry Wilson got us 2 heaters. So that's better.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, I know it.
Redskins taking over on their 25-yard line twice.
Washington leads the team that those ladies represent, the St. Louis Cardinals, 7-0.
Right now, they're just moving to keep warm.
I don't blame them.
This defense better start knocking people around. I'll tell you, Coryell was really worried about it.
Harmon and Hill, the running backs for Washington, and Kilmer, the quarterback. Calvin Hill bangs straight ahead. Eric Williams made the first hit and got him down, but Hill got about 5.
Cardinal defensive philosophy is to sit on the line of scrimmage and read and move to the play. But I'll tell you, if you're being controlled and you end up straightening up, against the Giants, they spent most of the time standing up looking around.
I think it's time to stop reading and start playing.
In the old days, you could grab grass and hold on, but you can't do that anymore.
Yep. That's very wet and slick artificial turf, although it really is not that slick. I shouldn't say that, because the field is in pretty good shape, and the ground crew here did a fantastic job to get it in this good a condition. Kilmer, the quarterback.
Remember, the Redskin offense is about the most sacked bunch of quarterbacks in the league. I think only Detroit in both conferences has had their quarterback thrown down more often trying to pass.
In recent weeks, it's been Theismann, not Kilmer. Kilmer hands back to Calvin Hill. A flag goes down. Mike Dawson made the tackle. Haven't even had a chance to tell you who the officials are. The referee is Don Wedge. The head linesman is Gil Mace. The back judge is Charlie Reed. Umpire is Frank Sinkovich. The line judge, the ex-Michigan State quarterback Dean Look. And the field judge is Bill O'Brien.
Looks like somebody got wrapped up in red and white.
A walk-off against the Redskins.
It's so cold we couldn't even hear Don Wedge's words.
Number 30 is Bill Bradley, the ex-Eagle, in that Cardinal secondary. Situation is 2nd down now. The yard line is the 19. They need 16 for a 1st down. Again, Kilmer gives to Hill. Now high over the top. The ball might have been loose at the bottom of that pile. Still belongs to the Redskins.
Good play by Davis, who got out there. He and Dawson, the 2 big Cub Bear tackles inside, had a tremendously tough game against the Giants. Looks like today they're going to do less stunning and play a little bit tougher, hard-nosed football.
John Zook comes in as the Cardinals figure this is a passing situation. And I guess that's legitimate figuring. It's 3rd and 13. backwards and backwards. He looked back to see who that was. And Tom Banks, the offensive center, and a fine one, gets ready to hit back.
That's a big shot in the arm, though, for the guys on the other side of the field in the sunlight. Good Cardinal defensive effort that series.
Mike Bragg is the Redskin punter. Bill Bradley back in single safety for the Cardinals. Bradley standing at just about his own 40-yard line. 3:45 left to play first quarter. Cardinals not trying to block it, trying to set up a return. Bradley is going to let it bounce. Runs away from it.
Bradley took a free shot at somebody.
And somebody took a free shot at Mike Bragg. That's not supposed to be. 7-0. Washington over St. Louis.
There'll be some bitter feelings expressed in this game.
Why would Bradley do something?
We're going to go after each other's kickers, it looks like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sandy, can you give us a temperature? When was that, last night?
2 o'clock, huh?
2 a.m., huh?
What time is it now?
KTP 541 clear.
1, 2. You say it's okay?
I'd like to thank the members of our crew who furnished Tom Brookshire and I with an ice cream bar.
I'll tell you one thing, it's still frozen solid. It hadn't warmed up a lot.
It was 14 degrees earlier this afternoon. I think it's much colder than that now. Not as cold as it was or is in Cincinnati, however. Jim Hart, Ike Harris, Hart threw behind him. Joe Lavender on the coverage. Cardinals look a little bit out of sync.
Looks like Jimmy Hart was not only tentative with that throw, but had trouble setting up a little bit. He never has been the quickest guy to drop back, but he used to do it a short drop. He'd get back and set up in 2 steps. That time it looked like he was worrying about it. See, he's shaking his head now. But he is a tremendous quarterback, and he's got Mel Gray out there. He's a mean motor scooter. He can flat fly, I'll tell you.
He splits him wide to the right and sends Ike Harris wide to the left. It'll be 2nd and 10. J.D. Kane is the tight end. Terry Metcalf has the ball. Metcalf banged into one of his own blockers. I believe Dan Deerdorf was out in front of him. He ran right up his back. Ron McDowell made the tackle.
Boy, Deerdorf gets out and pulls from that position, and as you might know, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it's been a month ago now, he gets Minnesota. He got a broken jaw, and the big right tackle has had it wired shut. He gets the wires cut loose Monday, and he says he doesn't care if it's peanut butter. Anything's going to taste good. He's been living through a straw.
He says one of the better things that's happened to him is the fact that he got both of his front teeth knocked out. Gray is going to run him down, but Jake Scott gives the Redskins the ball at the Cardinal 25.
Jim Hart misread the coverage because Mel Gray was trying to go down about 10 yards and come under the formation. And that's where Jake Scott was slipped up into that short zone, number 13. And that's another reason you pay a guy $130,000 a year. Big interception.
Jake Scott, I'm sure you've heard that he has said playing with the Redskins is like being in football heaven.
17th interception for Jimmy Hart.
Bill Kilmer gives to Calvin Hill, and he hadn't got much room this time. Hill, though, sprints around the corner, knocked out of bounds by Eric Williams. Calvin Hill running back to Bill Bradley, and now we're going to have a little scuffle.
Here's the interception, but Jake Scott cutting inside from the under zone. Mel Gray making the tackle. I think Calvin might have laughed at Billy Bradley. Billy Bradley starts little altercations, but Calvin isn't going to worry about a 185-pound safety net.
3 yards for Calvin Hill. He wound up in a snowbank. But now is back behind Bill Kilmer. 2nd and 7. Line of scrimmage now to 23. Kilmer. Dugan. Just a little bit overthrown. Ken Reeves on the coverage. It's hard to make a sharp cut like Dugan attempted then. CBS Sports Spectacular. Next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The WBC World Welterweight Championship. Palomino against Palacios. The 1977 National Hot Rod Association World Championships. And the United States Professional Arm Wrestling Championship. And the World's Strongest Men competition, all next week on the CBS Sports Spectacular. Jim Kick and Calvin Hill were the running backs. Jim Kick has it fall off his fingertips.
Kilmer's really mad at himself because he had Kick wide open in the left flat on a straight. Billy just humped it up and threw it a little bit too far. And the ball, even though you don't realize it, the ball is heavy when it's cold like this. It's like catching a darn rock. Or throwing a rock.
Or throwing a rock. Or kicking a rock. As Mark Moseley will attempt right now. Right at the 30-yard line will Joe Theismann put the ball down, so it'll be a 40-yard effort. It's good.
Got a flag down, Patrick.
Oh, on the other side, I see.
What could have been going on out there?
I don't know, but Joe Theismann said we'll keep the 3.
Wonder if the flag is heavier on a cold day.
I don't know about that.
That one might have just fallen out of a pocket. Offside. Defense. Number 27. Decline. Field goal is good.
The field goal is good. The score is 10-0. Redskins on a 40-yard field goal by Mark Moseley. Up their lead to 10-0 over the Cardinals. Mel Gray on the sidelines.
Patrick, I thought the Redskins were very loose, almost jovial coming out to warm up. It was almost like a Pro Bowl team coming out, and I thought the hometown Cardinals were tight coming out.
They looked that way. Where is his coach? I can't believe he's out there in short sleeves. Mosley's got the ball lying flat on the ground at the 35. They don't want to kick it to that guy. Looks funny, doesn't it? Nothing else in the picture. There's the grounder. Steve Jones can't find a handle, finally does. Breaks out of the pack, gets almost to the 40-yard line. Eddie Moss made the tackle for the Cardinals, for the Redskins, I beg your pardon. Pete Wysocki also there. Kojak. Tonight at 10, 9 Central and Mountain Time. Don't let him slip one by you. He's moving to a new night, and that night is tonight.
I'll watch him very closely at all times anyway.
Yes, sir. 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line. Redskins 10, Cardinals nothing. Metcalf in the I formation with Otis in front of him. Metcalf slips down and now gets back up, breaks away from one tackler. Terry Metcalf turned something out of what looked like disaster. Chris Hamburger made the tackle. Metcalf slipped down, got up, got away from Carl Lorch, and got 6 yards.
Boy, if he ever stopped chasing number 21 or think the play's over, that's exactly when he'll break it. Watch this. It's a running pass. He starts to throw it, falls down, and you can't pin him down before he gets back up. And I'll tell you, this is not an easy target when he gets it underway.
Don Coryell, who spent every night but one during this week here at the stadium in his offices. 2nd and 4. Jim Otis tries for the first down, doesn't get it. Brad Dusek and Ron McDowell stack it up.
Patrick, the Cardinals did not get a day off this week. They came back from New York and started working Monday. And the team has played the darndest schedule. They've played on Monday night, on Sunday afternoons. They played on Thursday, which was Thanksgiving Day, and now Saturday afternoon. They've got to be a little bit confused.
Dan Deerdorf, who still, in spite of the fact that he lost 38 pounds, still is about 265. It's warmed up a little bit now. It's over 15. 19, they tell us. Doesn't feel that warm. Metcalf with Dobler in front of him, and Banks. And out of bounds, Cardinals first down. Ken Houston took him out of bounds. Conrad Dobler with a good block in front of Metcalf.
Now, Keith Wortman is in for Deerdorf. We saw him on the sidelines, which means he might have gotten that jaw hurt again. But I'll tell you, Dobler gets out in front of this, and Conrad Dobler, other than being an interesting person, is a darn good hustling football player.
Wortman is, excuse me, Tom.
It's okay, Patrick.
Just checking out the stats on Wortman. He's 6'2", 262, from Nebraska, a 6-year veteran. First and 10, St. Louis. 23 seconds left to play in the first quarter as Pat Tilley sets up wide to the right. Somebody moved. I think it was Wortman. Otis gets around the corner. Otis banged out of bounds by Joe Lavender. But I believe the offensive right tackle of the Cardinals, Wortman, jumped before the ball was snapped.
I think there may have been 2 or 3 of them jumped. Looked like J.V. Kane may have moved a little bit too after he saw the tackle move, Wortman.
Here comes Deerdorf back in. And out goes Wortman. John Wedge will tell us.
Illegal motion. Offense, number 88. First down.
88, of course, J.V. Kane, who is next to Wortman. And there was movement on that side of the line. 18 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Redskins 10, Cardinals nothing. Line of scrimmage is the 49, first and 15 for St. Louis. '83 is Pat Tilley. 35 is Jim Otis. Otis breaks a couple of tackles. Jake Scott had to finally pin him down, along with Brad Dusek.
Boy, I'll tell you, the former Ohio Stater gives you everything he's got. He makes great moves at the line of scrimmage. That time he hits straight ahead, slips to the right side, and picks it up. Watch him make the move now. In an odd defense, Dalvett gets handled, and Otis is on his way for 7 or 8 yards.
That was the last play of the first quarter, and the Redskins lead it 10-0 over St. Louis.
What did he get, 8 yards?
More than that.
10-yard pickup?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
Huh.
What?
Looks good. The old Brooks Brothers shirt. Only because it was right across the street from our hotel.
We went over there and destroyed that place this morning.
We never get a chance to shop. We got in. All right.
Sucker play.
Sucker trap on Busch.
He followed the guard. Yeah.
What happened to the slow-mo stuff? Good gosh.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy for him to say.
Wow. Personal foul. It has warmed up in St. Louis to 19, and I know that they are glad of that. Jim Otis got 10 yards on that first down carry.
How do you know that they're glad of that?
I just assumed. I guess you can't do that, can you? Jim Hart outside to Harris, and he's got it. Perhaps enough for another first down. Gerard Williams knocked him out of bounds.
Great thing about Ike Harris, other than being a very fine athlete and about 6 foot 3.5 inches tall, is that he catches touchdowns in tough games. He caught a touchdown against Miami in that debacle, and he caught a touchdown last week against the Giants. He is really good in a tough situation.
That was enough for a first down. That was the first play of the second quarter. The Redskins lead the Cardinals 10-0. Harris went out of bounds at the 32. Jim Otis again breaking tackles, and Otis carries Jake Scott down inside the 20, down to the 17. Harold McClinton was draped around him too, but Otis, glad to be back in that starting lineup, looks good.
Wayne Morris had the big day against Minnesota. Then he got his back hurt, and since then they've had to call upon this character again, and I'll tell you, he is something else. He came in with, let me see how many yards rushing, 274, and he got 101 of those in one game, and he's before his home crowd.
And he's playing like he's enjoying it. Metcalf is behind him now, and Metcalf takes the toss from Hart. Metcalf tries to cut back inside, gets a few before Dyron Talbert and Brad Dusek, number 59, make the tackle. Not too many people stayed away. This game has been a sellout. In fact, every Cardinal home game this year has been a sellout. First time that's ever happened. Over on the St. Louis bench.
Looks like the makeup man is working.
A little Vaseline, maybe. Helps keep warm. That was Charlie Davis he was working on. Back to Metcalf. Looked like he might option again. He cuts back. Hamburger out there with him.
I tell you, Chris Hamburger had a very tough job, and if Metcalf hadn't cut back and run into the linebacker, that could have been a tough offensive play.
Cincinnati got it done. They had to beat Pittsburgh by at least 7 points, and that's exactly what they did. 17-10. Steve Jones and Terry Metcalf, the running backs. You're looking at the Redskin defensive unit. McClinton comes out. It will be third down for the Cardinals. Jim Bakken has been trying to keep the split warm for a long time on the other sideline.
Passing situation, that's for sure.
With Jones in there, that's what they expect. Trying to get to Metcalf. Out of bounds it goes. Dusek was out there with him.
It's called an airmail special delivery. Hart was looking to the corner for Ike Harris, who was trying to run a corner over there. And then he just unloaded and threw it out of bounds, and they'll take 3 if they can get 3.
Jim Bakken in with Roger Worley to hold. It has not been a good year for Bakken.
He's one of his last 5 attempted. I think you got to use kickers a little bit more often probably than that, too, to get the confidence back, don't you, Pat?
That's the only way to build it. Be successful. 32-yard attempt here by Bakken. That looks like a pretty good shot. It is. 10-3. So with 12 minutes, just over 12 and a half minutes left to play in the second quarter. It is Washington 10, St. Louis Cardinals 3.
Sandy, what are you going to do on this kickoff? Want to get on Wysocki? Oh no, wait, they're going to kick off, aren't they?
Is he in there?
He used to be on all these specials. No, he's not in.
He's not in there. The job he's got. He only covers team. He doesn't return him. On whose team? Let me see what they got here. I don't know. I forgot to ask. Who's good on the special teams, Tommy? Who's good on the special teams? 23. 25. 10-3 Redskins. Jim Bakken has put the Cardinals on the scoreboard.
Patrick Fast Eddie Brown is the second guy in the conference running back kickoffs. He'll take this one from Bakken. There's Eddie. Fast Eddie's averaging about 25 yards a kickoff return. None of them are 90 yards yet, along of 46, but he gives good field position.
He'll have a chance from Jim Bakken, who's angling for the other side now, trying to keep it away from Brown. And now he'll have to do whatever he's going to do from the 30-yard line as it goes out of bounds on the other side.
You know, I really like Don Coryell's style of coaching. The last time, I think, or the only time they had a 3-game losing streak until now was the first year he was here. He really turned this football team around. But I'll tell you something, he always said it's easy to coach offensive plays and get points, and it's very tough to build a great defensive football team.
And there's the man of whom you speak, Don Coryell. He has done a fine job here. He did a fine job before he came here in college. Here's Jim Bakken again now with the ball teed at the 30, and Eddie Brown standing all the way up at the zone 10-yard line. Line drive kick taken by Tillman to the 31.
Eddie Brown was trying to talk him out of the ball, but Rusty got a hold of it and wrapped it up. Huh?
He looked like a wind-up toy. Bob Young on the sideline. He is in the finals of the World's Strongest Men on the CBS Sports Spectacular, the individual tug of war. That's one-on-one. Tom Banks next to him, of course. At the 30, 1st and 10, Washington. Clarence Harmon, the running back, gets about 6 or 7 yards before Charlie Davis made the tackle. Carol Burnett and company have pulled up their Saturday night stakes and are moving to Sunday night. On hand to help her mark the occasion will be Rock Hudson tomorrow night.
And the Carol Burnett show, it's tomorrow night at 10, 9 Central, huh? By the way, the Cardinals are in.
Is number 78.
Carney is that free agent tough hitter that was beaten out by Kellen for a while at the middle spot, but now with that 3-4, you can use 2 good hitting linebackers inside. And Patrick, really all it is an old 5-man line with the 2 defensive ends just standing up. About all the 3-4 is.
It's Charlie Davis that's right in front of the offensive center. Kilmer drops. And Billy gives to Calvin Hill. Same pass they scored the touchdown on, just to the other side. Enough for a first down, Redskins. Arneson, one of the tacklers.
Well, I'll tell you, he's a darn good pass receiver coming out of the backfield, isn't he?
He's a big target.
Watch Billy with a classic setup. And by the way, he's throwing the ball. That one really spiraled very well.
We hear he's been throwing the ball the last couple of weeks as well as he ever has. 1st and 10, Redskins. Not much.
The surface might be getting a little glazed out there. It looks like they're beginning to skate.
Yeah, there are a couple of spots that look like they might really be slick now. And before it's over, I imagine they'll be playing on what is almost a rink.
I'll tell you, it's just impossible for a defensive back to get confidence late in this game, and it does get glassy. You'll see some defensive back go all the way down, and that is disaster.
Redskin ball, 2nd down at their own 47. Kilmer gives back to Clarence Harmon. He won't do much. Ron Yankowski.
And Carney, number 56.
Watch the defense on that last play. A 3-man line.
Well played by number 57, though. Good shape, and good chase by Yankowski from the far side, huh?
This is something the Cardinals have not done before, that 3-4 that so many of the other teams are using. Charlie Davis, the man in the middle, number 76.
Now they're in the 4-3.
They go to the 4. Third down 9 situation at the Redskins 48 for Kilmer. Calvin Hill again. Dropped it. It was a fumble.
They're going to call possession and call it a fumble.
Roger Worley. Bob Giblin, number 28. The guy who made the recovery. They call it a complete pass. Possession, and then a fumble by Calvin Hill.
And Calvin looked like he was spinning around trying to get control of it. It was not an easy catch and perhaps not the best throw, but there was a pretty good pass rush put on that time.
So the Cardinals get another break. They'll take it over at the Redskins 48 with 9:05 left to play in the second quarter.
You decide to go ahead now and shake and go and try to get on in one play?
I would. Mel Gray wide to the left. Draw play Metcalf. Metcalf breaks into the secondary, gets past another, down to the 25, he bounces. Gerard Williams made the tackle. An excellent call. Metcalf on the quick draw.
And remember, he has a 62-yarder. Here it is on the draw. What looks like a pretty well defense play turns out to be nothing. And you're right, he just really hurdled Williams.
Just shy of the 25-yard line for Terry Metcalf. The St. Louis Santa.
Looks like he's in a cage.
Taking approval. Metcalf, second consecutive play, bangs for 3 or 4. Ron McDowell made the chase and the tackle.
I'm telling you, there's some contact before, during, and after the play, and before this one's over, there are going to be some real expressions made. Some real free spirits are going to collide. Jake Scott had about a 10-yard run at that aborted tackle that time.
Word on Mike Thomas is that he has a bruised calf muscle, but they expect him to be able to play. Second down situation now, 6 yards they need for a first. Line of scrimmage at 21. Otis. Jake Scott and Carl Lorch. Jake Scott's having a heck of a day.
Boy, great Scott is right. The former Dolphin, and we've forgotten that he was the MVP of that Super Bowl when Miami beat the Redskins. It's hard to believe that he's now one of them, huh?
He likes the idea.
Metcalf has 44 yards now in 9 carries.
Passing down coming up for the Cardinals. Third down, about 8 at the Redskins 23. Washington leads 10-3.
Might see if you can get a double on Gray and go to J.V. Kane, that tight end again.
Watch the secondary and see if they roll to Mel Gray, who's on the right side. That's what they're doing, and that's where Hart's looking. Gray got it. Mel Gray knocked out of bounds by Dusek. I thought he was going to throw the ball at Dusek, but he didn't. Whatever. He got the first down for the Cardinals. Gerard Williams on the coverage.
That's the 35th catch for Mel Gray and the 57th game in a row that he's caught at least one pass in. He's little, but he's mighty. Boy, is he quick.
He got a first down for the Cardinal offensive unit.
I think he beat the double, too. I believe they'd roll that way.
Rolling that way. At the 13, Jim Hart asked for quiet. It's 10-3 Washington. 6:40 left to play in the second quarter. Hart calls him. Jim Otis gets the carry, and Otis bangs down inside the 10, but there is a flag on the play, and it's probably going to be holding.
Well, I'll tell you, Deerdorf opened up a big hole at that right tackle spot, but they're going to catch somebody for clamping on.
Deerdorf and Dobler on that right side, along with J.V. Kane on that last play.
Redskins have only had 3 touchdowns scored all year rushing the football against them. Once they get down inside there, they get awfully nasty.
Holding, offense, number 72, first down. Move that ball just a little bit.
No wonder there was such a big hole. That was Deerdorf. be first down at the 23-yard line now. 1st and 20. And Butts comes out of the Redskin defense. Brundage goes in. Brundage supposed to be the better pass rusher. And that's what Hart's going to have to do. Last time on the first down, though, he ran the draw play to Metcalf. This time he won't. Hart looks down the middle. Intended for Gray and knocked down by Kenny Houston and Joe Lavender, who were back there with him.
Lavender's a former basketball player from San Diego State. He jumped even over Kenny Houston and just spiked it down.
And Houston's about 6'5". There's the Bird, Lavender. One of several players now who wear glasses while they play.
And play well.
And it's a problem, I promise you, to stay warm.
Again now, Jimmy Hart will call Mel Gray in some way to influence the defense and make the Redskins get into something he can read.
That's a great weapon to have, a receiver who can dictate coverage like that. Gray is put wide to the right. Now let's watch him again and see if they roll this way. He's got the double coverage. Caught by Ike Harris on the other side. To the 5-yard line, Jake Scott again made the tackle.
A great catch by Ike Harris, who actually was coming in. J.B. Kane had fallen down, the tight end. Watch this now from behind Jimmy Hart. He got both backs out this time. Kane falls down. Look at this catch. And then tries to break it for the end zone.
It'll be 1st and goal. There is confusion on the St. Louis side, and they call a timeout. Cardinals have asked for a timeout. Number 81 is Jackie Smith, who has announced that this will be his last year. There he is.
Is he something? And by the way, his longest pass was an 81-yarder he once caught, the all-time tight end receiver.
Jackie Smith is number 81. Sad to see him go.
What happened?
Yeah, isn't that the truth? You reckon we ought to say anything about that? Okay.
They tripled Mel the last time.
What do you do when your butler announces a lady carrying a six-pack of Bud?
What does he announce?
I don't understand that.
Yeah. Coffee? Is that coffee?
What's it up here with? First and goal for the Cardinals. The Redskins trying to stay warm.
Jim Hart is now 5 for 10 for 51 yards.
5 minutes, 59 seconds left before the half. The Redskins lead. 3rd and 1. I beg your pardon. They did not make the first down. I had thought the completion made it 1st and goal, but it's 3rd and 1. Now it's 1st and goal.
Steve Jones over the top. And notice how that was a sacked IT, and we are told that Don Coryell might have been a man a few years ago that invented the I.
Steve Jones over the top behind Otis. And now the Cardinals have it 1st and goal at the 2. 5.5 minutes left before the half. 1st and goal. Regular T formation this time. And now it's that power I with Metcalf the deep back. Jones and Otis in front of him. Metcalf to the 1. Brad Dusek. Tangle around.
Cardinals have a tremendous offensive line. perhaps one of the largest this side of the Chicago Bears, I imagine, in all of football.
I imagine you're right. Deerdorf, when he's able to eat, goes about 290.
Finney's 265 at the left. Dobler and, of course, Young is about 270 at left guard. Banks is 255.
Again, that power eye as Metcalf goes deep. This time it's Otis. It doesn't get in. Harold McClinton cut him right in half.
Carl Lorch was in on it, and McClinton did scissor him, didn't he? This is a big touchdown for the man you're looking at right here. The offense has got to carry this team, and that means you got to put more points on than you're going to give up.
About a foot shy, 3rd and goal. The Redskin defenders will be in the end zone, or with their hands on the goal line at least. Banks signaled for something. I don't know what. Jones bangs for a touchdown. He just got it. It's 10-9.
A 19th touchdown rushing by the Cardinals. And I'll tell you, he got it by just about the length of the ball. He went in standing. You look at it. He just broke that invisible plane that goes up the goal line.
Any part of the ball over or on that goal line, it is touchdown, and he just barely got it to that spot. Jim Bakken drills the extra point that makes it a tie. The Cardinals 10, the Redskins 10. We have 3 minutes and 55 seconds left before the half, and we have a tie game. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Justin, give me the normal halftime title, couple of generic subtitles, please, on the RP.
Wait a minute. You know, right after it says, and he also was taking a lovely new bride. Can you hear me? I'm going to put name Susan right after that, then go on. Susan. Yeah. Okay. Yeah? Yeah, but she's coming tomorrow. Can we just leave them here so you don't... Charlie, the dog, is going through anything he can get his hands on, he's eating. Clothes, leaves, shoes. Those were on the floor, and he... To be so...
Kirby, mic'd up, full boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
what he did the other day that made me think he was really bright? He kept talking to Bob on the phone, and I said, Charlie, get out of there, get out, because he was really crying and trying to get in there. And I thought, now, what's he going to do in the toilet? You know, I thought, this guy's really smart. But I walked into the kitchen, and his water bowl was dry as a bat. So all he was doing was trying to get a drink. So, I mean, they're smart little puppies. He was trying to tell me something. And if I keep him locked up in the kitchen right after...
Using until this 2-minute drive, or less than 2-minute drive.
First and goal now with the line of scrimmage.
It do, Mike. Yeah. Okay.
Touchdown.
Right there.
As Bradshaw throws the pass that's incomplete, you can put him right there, and you can put him right up on top of Anderson and Bradshaw. Shaking hands is fine. How's that? Mm-hmm.
she's at home taking care of her daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. She has it on. You had your earpiece in.
Yeah, it's in.
Did you hear him?
No. No. Yeah.
No, she's.
Yeah, I hear you now. That made me sick when I heard that, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I'm glad you know. That's, yeah. Well, I tried to say something. Anybody? Yeah. Like
Incomplete pass, Pat.
I see, it's easy.
Who kicked it?
You need somebody to
Moseley gonna kick right now.
No, don't worry about it. Don't need it.
Good. Good.
So they go ahead 13-10. Don't need it, Bob.
Wait for yarder.
I've got it. Yeah.
Being knocked down. I think the teams are knocking the other guy's kicker around in much the way they
You
use
get, did it? You might get Irv a Kilmer stat.
Call things, we'll go after your kicker.
Okay. 13-10, nevertheless. Moseley still complaining.
Yeah, who's ahead? Washington or?
Washington's ahead. Washington's ahead. 13-10.
Okay. All right. Fine.
You're kidding me. I saw her at the other night talking I want to see if Kilmer tried 3 passes and failed and mostly kicked the field. Her pain and everything that she was fighting.
Keeps him on the ground.
Looked like they had a touchdown on the first down.
Frank Brand dropped the ball. Yeah, hit it right in the hands.
Well, it was, you know, he's going,
Well, he's catching the ball.
Yeah, it was behind him a little bit.
Kilmer throws passes that way. He throws around the receiver. He's not come up with it.
She looked great.
Okay.
He's such a nice guy. Yeah. Oh, really? Because I interviewed him 2 years for, and seeing her
30 seconds.
Hello. John Denver might have had Craig Morton in mind when he wrote his beautiful song about Colorado's Rocky Mountain High experience. After disappointing seasons in Dallas and New York, the Denver quarterback seems revitalized with the Broncos. And after 12 games this season, his team has the best record in pro football. And he also has taken a lovely new bride named Susan. Craig Morton truly seems to be experiencing a Rocky Mountain high. No, I think they're doing with the lights now or something. No, I'm not seeing them. Yvonne, when would that be done? Yeah. Because I think is there a
Let's see. Irv, how has Kilmer played as a surprise starter? Does that work?
Okay.
Does that work all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most important thing, remember, you have to come up with a big play, of course, in this ball game. And Kilmer just worked the clock beautifully in the last minute or so of the second quarter to get that last field goal.
Excellent. That's it.
Yeah, what it.
And then when I say earlier, 17-10.
Right.
That's fine. You just roll it as soon as we start talking about it, Ed.
With me, of course. Okay.
And Phyllis, when I get done, after these.
Okay. John Denver might have taken up a beautiful song about Colorado.
Yeah.
I've seen it rain.
touchdown pass in the first series of plays. He worked his target pretty well in the last minute or so prior to the half. That's what George is looking for, that experience that way, guys that control the game in such a situation.
What? John did remind us had Bridgewater in mind when he wrote the beautiful song Rocky Mountain High. Just make sure you're away.
Oh. That didn't drop it.
You read that?
Let's scroll.
That's a little jumbo. That's good. Is there a definite post?
We got to go to 6:30. I would say, but I think we got joins at 5. I think we're going to go past 6:30. So we might have a small join.
6 seconds in that game.
This is a gross question. When people get burns, you know, like this ash is just lying here before I even noticed it, now it's scabbing over. Is that what happens when a person gets second-degree burns on their body?
Yeah, I think second degree is that.